Voice A, framing A3. Some say, I remember, make of it what you will. Some say stories are entertainment, tales told around campfires to keep the night at bay. Others say stories are weapons, sharpened by intention, aimed at the mind instead of the heart. But I've come to suspect that stories are more like medicine, best taken in careful doses, with warnings about how much to swallow before the cure becomes poison. Some heal, some scar, some do both in a single telling. I've carried stories that saved me, and I've witnessed stories that hollowed people out like old barns collapsing after a long winter. Nothing left but splinters and echoes. The hidden wounds of stories. People assume trauma comes from what was done. Violence, loss, catastrophe. But there's another kind. The trauma of knowing something you can't share without becoming a stranger in your own house. I've met men who carried stories like shrapnel, tales of strange lights above the ocean at 0200 hours, craft that moved against the wind, voices without lips in places that were supposed to be silent. No one believed them. Some were mocked. Others were pitied. A few learned to keep quiet, but silence didn't ease the burden. It just made the wound invisible. Some say a lie hurts worse than the truth. Sometimes it's the other way around. The stories we tell to survive. I've seen how people reshape memory just enough to keep breathing. A soldier whispers, I dreamed it, because the alternative would break him. A scientist mutters, it was a trick of light, because the funding board wasn't ready for anything stranger. A mother tells her child, it was just thunder, because the child wasn't ready for whatever else was pounding in the sky. In moments like that, a story becomes a shelter, a place to hide from the full weight of experience until the soul is strong enough to face it. Some say they lied. I say they adapted. The stories we tell to heal. There are stories people share in whispers, not because they doubt them, but because they believe them too deeply to risk careless handling. I've sat with men who never flinched at combat, but trembled when they tried to describe what they saw after the firefight ended. Light where there should have been darkness, shadows where there should have been men, silence where there should have been screams. They don't tell these stories for attention. They tell them because silence is heavier than ridicule. When someone finally listens, truly listens, the teller can breathe again. Not because the burden is gone, but because it is shared. Some say validation is a luxury. I say it's a lifeline. The stories that break us, but not all stories heal. Some gnaw at the mind like rust at steel, quiet and slow until the structure fails. I've watched people sink under the weight of secrets they never confirmed but couldn't let go. Conspiracy mixed with grief, memory tangled with myth, ego twisted around identity until the person and the narrative were indistinguishable. Some drown in truth, others drown in belief. The difference is not always visible until the water closes overhead. The storyteller's oath. I learned this the hard way. If you carry other people's stories, you owe them more than curiosity. You owe them respect, not for the details, but for the courage it took to speak. You owe them patience, because fragments take time to assemble into something that resembles meaning. And you owe them honesty, because a story told without discernment can cut deeper than any blade. Some say storytellers are entertainers. Some say they are prophets. I think they are custodians, guardians of words that outlive the people who spoke them. The wizard's mirror. As for me, I keep a quiet mirror. I don't reflect everything I'm shown. Some stories are too raw, too unshaped, too young to survive exposure. But I reflect enough for the teller to see themselves not as madmen or liars, but as travelers who brought back something fragile and unexplained from the edges of what we call real. If I have a gift, it is not certainty. It is the ability to say, I hear you, and I won't turn away. Some say that's not enough. I remember nights when it was the only thing keeping someone from walking into the dark alone. The medicine and amp, the mirror. So I've learned this much. A story is not true because it happened. A story is not false because it didn't. A story is true when it reveals something that was hidden inside us all along. Something we were afraid to name until someone else found the courage first. And a story is false when it hides more than it reveals, when it becomes a mask that erases the face beneath it. Some say myth is illusion. Some say myth is memory. I say myth is a mirror, and every mirror can heal or wound depending on whether the watcher is ready to face their own reflection. If we are to walk forward together, engineers, experiencers, mystics, skeptics, we must learn to honor stories without worshiping them, to question narratives without shattering the souls that carry them. Because in the end, stories aren't just how we remember the past. They're how we practice becoming the future. Chapter 6. Complete. Global Robotics Corporation.